I totally understand. All we need to do is figure out a time to go over the benefits with you at a later date, and I'll get you up the phone. And 4 or 5 during the week. Okay. What about Joseph? Is he usually home at that time? Okay. So I actually had tomorrow between 4 and 6 p.m. That works. Great. Okay, I'll see you guys then. And, I know you're on a break, so I'll keep this really quick. Now,
What's up, dude? You get me today.
What's up?
I'm gonna come and deliver.
You're the one, you're the sales copy?
Yes, I am.
So only should get in there. Your apartment building. Like,
How you doing this morning, Casey?
How are you? Great.
Top of the world, man.
when I get to the apartment building there,
Got a little running, got a little stretching.
Nice.
I'm still a little tight up my back. Hey.
Oh,
I need to find more time to stretch. I keep meaning to do it like right when I wake up.
It literally, I have my mat right next to my bed, so sometimes I just fall right on there, get my stretches in, but it takes time. You gotta get up earlier to put it on your schedule.
Yeah. So I have the problem where it's like I wake up because I'm supposed to wake up and get out of bed at 6, but I wake up at 6 and like lie in bed for 20 minutes and I have to race around.
Yeah, the thing is, you get up, put your shoes on, and go out the door. That's what's up.
I don't like that. I gotta have time to make my shit.
Right. What's up? What's up?
All right, go back.
Good, Casey.
Are you running?
I'm running sales coffee today. We're gonna play Family Feud today.
What are you teaching us?
We're playing a game.
It's gonna be a good.
I just got tips for you today. Then we're gonna do open it up to some Q&A for you guys. You got any questions? But I just got some stuff for you here. Some motivation stuff, some spotlight stuff, some house cleaning stuff. We'll make it quick.
You find car keys and stuff? Research. Man, I'm excited.
What do you mean?
You know what you need.
The car?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll
I'm
see.
excited. I wanna ride in it once we get.
One day.
What kind of car are you getting, Casey?
I don't know. I'm thinking about getting a Tesla. I don't know.
Tesla?
We'll see. But or I like the new Tahoes too, or Escalades. I mean, I'm kind of confused.
Get a Tesla truck, an SUV. Cybertrucks. Yeah.
What's up, everybody?
What's up, Casey? How you
How we
doing
doing
today, man?
today? Can you hear me? Where's the mic, Edgar?
I don't know. I'm a Matt.
Hey, how do you say that?
Well,
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, well, I can hear you good, bro. Can you hear us?
Is there?
Oh, no, come on. I feel like I'm in a lunch.
Hey, Sydney, what you eating? Let me get a piece.
Banana bread.
Banana bread? I can never keep my bananas long enough.
Mm-hmm.
And then whenever they get so bad, I tell myself I'm gonna make banana bread, and then I never do.
There were a couple different rounds. When I was there.
We have like 13 frozen bananas waiting to be made to banana bread right now. They're all just like in the freezer. It's like literally overflowing with bananas. It's so bad.
You got me beat by about 5 bananas in the freezer.
No, like legit 13. I swear to God, it's so bad. And there's more on the table.
You're just talking about some bananas?
Banana bread, yeah.
I love banana bread myself.
Banana bread's the best.
Love me some banana bread. We got some house cleaning stuff for you today. We're gonna play a game today, guys. I thought it would be pretty cool. I got a little. You guys know Family Feud, right? Everyone's favorite game. Everyone knows Family Feud, right? I was reading a couple articles, and anyone read this past month's Spotlight? Anyone actually read the articles in the Spotlight? Just if you did, you're gonna get some bonus points if you did. But I actually read a couple of those articles, some decent articles, actually took some notes, and we'll kind of go over that. It made me think of, just some top areas that we can kind of key on to give you guys some, motivation. I have some tips from Natalie that, she's been giving us some great stuff in our team meetings and, tips on referrals. And a lot of times, guys, in these workshops, I heard Christina's been killing it with the referrals, giving us some great info on referrals, but it's not always, what we know in our notes. And I remember Coach Giggs, he taught me this a while back. Everybody know Coach Giggs in the business, 30 plus years. He gets over $250,000 every month in a renewal. And he said, in this business, it's not always, what we know, it's what we know and aren't implementing. And everyone can be guilty of it, whether it's what are the top 5 things that we'll get into that in a bit, but just some house cleaning stuff before we get into some of the festivities this morning. Shouldn't be too long. Looks like we got everybody. And then we'll see if we can have some time open up for some Q&A. If you guys want to, talk about some referrals, I have some referral tips that I got from Natalie that we can run through that you can kind of add to. Maybe you guys are already doing it, but just some great tips that I'm going to personally start to implement with these guys and myself included. So just some good stuff all around. How's everybody doing out there? Can you guys hear me? We got Rich, we got Andrea. Okay. We got the house pull over here. We're going to have 2 audience contestants. We'll see who wants to play up here. Family Feud. We'll have 2 teams. We'll play it in the office, and also we'll break it up out there to see if your top 5, what we're going to go over. But just some house cleaning stuff, guys. Make sure that number 1, you guys always have your phone scripts there. I know this is basic, but phone scripts with rebuttals. Tommy mentioned it. Sometimes we can, get off or, run to a different room and not have maybe your rebuttals with you, or maybe not have your phone scripts with you. And you get a rebuttal, and then, you maybe blank on what is actually on that sheet or what would actually maybe work a little bit better. So obviously basic, try to have your phone scripts there. I like to have my phone scripts here right in front of me. And I've been doing it, thousands and thousands of times. So make sure we're taking, looking at your numbers, and we're adding referrals, which we're going to talk about down the road. Tommy, and we're going to be giving leads out based off of, production. So if you're getting a lot of ALP, you're going to get a lot of leads, and vice versa. You should typically, if you're getting 100 leads, it was always, 100 ALP per lead. That's why referrals are so important, to help boost that, to make sure we're, being profitable on the leads that, are invested in us. This week, we have 3 more sends, guys. We're going to gear up. We're talking about referrals because we need to get these banked and in your impact for a hell of a push week last week of this month, to where love push weeks, because everyone's going to get your bonus level up, get your referrals stacked, get your presets on, and we're going to come in stepping out of your comfort zone, getting used to rolling referrals. Just some tips on those we'll go over I got from Natalie, but getting into it. Let's see, who do we want our contestants to be up on the board here? We got Steven and Shayla. Okay, Steven and Shayla. Steven and Shayla are going to play. Let me see here. All right, come on up, guys. You're going to have our imaginary buzzer right here. You guys know who John Gordon is? You guys ever see his positive tips? John Gordon wrote a book. It's called The Energy Bus. And he come up with some positive tips. And I was reading this. Angela Duckworth, she's a professor at the University of Pennsylvania. She said, we're going to talk about our Family Feud, AIL, the Vienna Agency Family Feud. Top 5 predictors and factors for success. So top 5, and she talks about number 1. I wrote my top 5, and I have another poll. I actually talking to Vince about this. He has his top 5 factors and predictors for success. And top 5 factors and predictors for success. Hit the buzzer. Okay.
Perseverance.
Perseverance.
Wait, are there actual answers?
Yeah, there are actual answers.
Is this out of a book?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
It's out of
I'm just guessing.
perseverance. All right, let's poll the audience. Perseverance, number one. Coachability.
Ambition.
Wait, how do you know?
I'm guessing.
Oh.
I'm just.
Believe in yourself.
All right, Zoomland.
Discipline.
Believe in yourself.
Discipline, I heard. Belief. What else?
Work ethic
Work ethic. I mean, that's kind of
and discipline.
actually, yeah. I mean, work ethic.
Mindset.
Mindset.
I feel like attitude is probably just all of these.
She described it. Thanks, guys.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Clap it up for him. Played Family Feud. I wish we had the giant buzzer and the guide and we could have each family up here, but you know, she described it as grit, which I thought, I was like, grit, that's kind of a different type of word to have, you know, the number one, she called it the number one predictor and factor for success. And you know, it's funny. And I actually looked up, which I was kind of amazed. I looked up grit on Google. And if you guys just type in grit definition on Google, and it blew my mind, and it has her name, Angela Duckworth, on the definition. She came up with the definition of grit, which I was kind of like, you know, shook by that. She took it as passion and perseverance for a long-term meaningful goal. So whether you're going for a goal, whether you just started, this is your first week submitting business and your goal is 46,500 to take your family to convention, or your goal is to be, you know, a top 5 agent on stage, it's not going to happen obviously one day. It's going to be that daily grit, that daily showing up. A lot of these things, perseverance, the coachability. Number one, here's mine. Here's my top 5, and hopefully you can write your top 5 down. I was thinking about this. Number one, I kind of stole hers, grit, and I took it discipline. I feel like discipline's number one. You always hear you can have the pain of discipline or the pain of disappointment. I don't know if it's Jocko or Simon always said that all the time. So the discipline of getting your 150 calls in, your 2 sales, your 15 referrals, your 3 or 4 sit downs. What were the other ones you said? Well, the top 5 she mentioned yesterday. 4 sits. 150 calls per day. 2 sales. Wasn't there one more?
15 reps, wasn't it?
3
sits, 2 enrollments, 1,000 ALP. I think a personal recruit. I was adding that in there. 1 personal recruit. That would be a successful day. So if you're checking these things off daily, like John Maxwell says, it's not going to happen in one day. It's the daily getting through the mess, getting through the policy mods, getting through the phone calls, the no-shows, all these things. But number 1 was discipline. Number 2, I kind of lumped it together. I was thinking what's important factor and predictor for success is mind, body, spirit. The discipline to actually do it, you know, getting your stretching in, your yoga, your run around your block, all these small things that are going to give you, they're going to propel you and give you the energy. I put prayers over worrying, because that's when you pray for something, it's the opposite of worrying about it, right? If you're worrying about, oh, will I get a sale? You might not get a sale, but if you're positive, you're praying, you're on all your mind, body, spirit, it's going to give you that X factor. You know, that's going to be the hidden thing. Positivity And the secret, the number one, a lot of people, you'll say is the top 5 secrets to success is enthusiasm. You know, you think of it's in the playbook, I believe still. What's the last 3 letters? You're sold yourself. You are getting so excited about this. I'm sold myself. You're transferring that belief, to the clients. All right, let's hear your top 5. Here's Vince's. He said number 1 was perseverance. Vince said number 2, coachability. Vince said 3, work ethic, discipline, and being a self-motivated. So that was Mr. Messeri's. Let's hear somebody's out there, your top 5 predictors and factors for your success.
Well, you just can't disagree with what's right there. You know.
Matt's ambition, coachability. Awesome. Okay.
I think belief would be like number 1 before even perseverance, because I don't think you can persevere unless you believe.
Belief, number 1. Okay. But guys, when you know your why, he gets on, when you know your why and your way, no obstacle is going to get in your way. So if you're checking off your 5 things, he says, when you know your why and you know the way, you won't allow obstacles to get in your way. Everyone get that? So you got your why. Why are you doing this? Why are you putting in the extra mile? Why are you making the calls? Why are you serving these clients and individuals, protecting families? When you know your why and you know what your way, what we have to do, nothing's going to be able to get in our way. So I thought that was awesome. So just a couple tips on that stuff to keep those things. And you can take the opposite coin. So what's the opposite of all these things? You want to be successful? What would the opposite of all these be? It's pretty simple. You take a look at them. That would be unsuccessful. So you definitely want to, what we know, the basics that we know, sometimes it's so simple. Sometimes we just don't do it. That's sometimes why you need a trainer. You need to get a coach to, give you that extra push. And just to make sure, you're battling yourself. You're getting that mind, body, spirit knocked out. You're getting your 150 calls. You're getting your sit downs. You're just putting the pressure on that, collecting the referrals. Some tips I had from Natalie, which is simple. You may be saying these things, but I was like, wow, I have to add that into ours. For the first time in talking about referrals, I was like, I'm not saying this. For the first time, they're allowing us to extend this card, to extend this will. Or for the first time, I see 8 members a day. And make sure that, guys, when you're taking that, stepping out of your comfort zone, getting that client, loving that individual, loving that client you're with, rolling a referral, take the extra 5 minutes, have them put their phone on speaker, because if you say, call your buddy right now, out of all these members, which one's most important to you? I want to make sure we get him on the schedule, taken care of. They're obviously going to answer your call before mine. So go ahead and grab your phone, give him a call, coach him up on put it on speakerphone. So that way you guys are on the Zoom. You guys can go over that, book that appointment, getting the email. You can book the appointment right on the calendar right there. Say, okay, Joe, awesome. For the first time, they're able to extend these out. Lucky you for a limited time if you qualify. Lucky you, limited time if you qualify. Lucky you, limited time. For the first time, they're allowing us to extend this discount card, to extend this will. I see 8 to 10 members a day. I'm completely swamped. I'll tell you what, Joe, all I need to get this out, I need your email. And over the speakerphone, say, go ahead, pull up your email. I'm going to send you a link for actually 8 o'clock tonight. I have one opening. I'm completely booked, but I can book you my last stop, 8 p.m. this evening. That way I can make sure we get you all the same no-cost benefits. I promised, and that's something we always used to say, that, I promised your sister I would go over this. And you really, at the end, promised them. I promise I would take really good care of your sister. do that. And then you go to the referral, say, look, I promised Cindy that I would get this out to you. And she thought it was that important. You guys see how that's, really works to your advantage? So I promised your sister that I would get this package out to them. And lucky you, this is for the first time they're extending these out to non-dues paying members. Lucky you, your sister pays dues to get access to these. Or, but for the first time, and then in the beginning, make sure you're saying, because you were sponsored in, I'm booked, show them your schedule. When you are booked and you have that confidence, but look, I'm seeing 8 families today. I'm swamped. I can't come back because you were sponsored in. And then you hit them with, I'm only allowed to see you only once. So I would go like this during my so basically paragraph. It would not always pop up on the e-app on referrals. I don't know if it still does. Does this? I think it does actually now. It did pop up before. So you had to remember and train your agents to say that so basically paragraph, even though they're not a union member. Does that make sense, everybody out there? Because you may feel weird about it. Like, how am I doing this? So basically, because we're contracted with all these groups and unions, and because you were sponsored in through this program, through the police and firefighter unions for the child safety ID kits and the family protection program, I'm only allowed to come out only once unless you're a member or policyholder with us. Just in fairness to all the members that are waiting for their programs. And then you can read this so basically for the union to them. This is why we're contracted with unions. For the first time, they're extending these to non-dues paying members. And we are swamped. Unfortunately, I can't come back, but giving you access to these discounted negotiated programs. Typically 20 to 30% below the open market value. So definitely make sure you call Cindy, thank her, make sure that, you're going to get maybe an extra Christmas gift this year, whatever you want to say. Thank her because she definitely hooked you up. And you're going to love these programs. Is your spouse home? Make sure you get them both on Zoom because we don't want to get sold on the one leg. I know sometimes people want to do it, but you definitely have to really sniff out those situations. You definitely don't want to have the one legs, but she talked about having the mindset to replace every presentation with another one. So that if you just got through a lead, whether it's a referral or a hard card or a will kit or a POS or any appointment you have set on your schedule, or it's a neighbor, maybe it's a guy who has a small business, he's a plumber, but he has no permanent benefits for his family. So if he doesn't come home, his family's screwed. Their lives are going to be completely different. But because you got them the paycheck protection, because you got them the mortgage protection, because you got the children's education protection with the extra accidental and the freedom of choice, those kids' lives completely different. When you guys agree, that's an important job. It's a very noble job that we have to make sure that the kids' lives are protected. So, and they don't have access to these programs. So referrals, you're gonna open up. I could draw it for you, like day 2 of training I'm going to do today for these guys. I could draw you the thing. Did anyone miss day 2 of training? Everybody remembers the thing I drew? And imagine each of these $50 bills though, and $100 bills. And this person, they didn't give you 5, this person gave you 10. And you see, I used to try to track how many generations I could sell a referral. It was a lot easier because I had stacks of gold cards like this with everyone's name on them. And you could see how many referrals you collected. I could know how Matt's doing on referrals because his stack would be either small or he would have a stack of gold cards. Those have to be in your impact now. And Tommy's he's looking at this when he's giving us leads to make sure, hey, we're putting them in the impact. And guys, if you never put them in there, it generates a $2,000 AD&D it's really official. You can print it off and actually show the client that, look here, because you were sponsored, $2,000. That's going to be good. And it's going to make sure that, I know $2,000, not a whole lot of money. and I always do this, it's called selling in a non-selling area. When you're going over this, you're adding value to something that someone may think that a client, maybe it hasn't happened to me in a while actually, but out in the field, you might have had a client that they're like, oh, 2,000 or what's a $3,000 or $4,000 benefit? Exactly. So I would always proactively say, hey, after I explain the AD&D, I say, $3,000, not a whole lot of money, but Joe and Mary, when a family member dies, every penny makes all the difference in the world. So they wanted to make sure that it wouldn't take cover, obviously, maybe wouldn't take care of your cremation or all your earth burial, but when something happens to Joe, when he doesn't come home, every penny makes all the difference in the world. I'm sure you agree with that. And it may open up their eyes, like you're exactly right.
Hey, Casey?
Yes.
Just to clarify, so when we go ahead and put referrals into the e-app and then they populate to the impact, those people who are referrals who they now have a 2000 AD&D with us, they qualify for that just straight
Well,
out the
depending on
gate?
your state, actually. Where are you calling from? I know in PA, they won't pop up because they don't do that in PA. We're in Illinois. They will generate that. And it also, at the bottom, you see the certificate. Yeah, it'll populate that at the bottom. And then you can print that
So
off.
they do get an AD&D for being sponsored in, is what I'm getting
Yes,
at.
and it's $2,000, even though I know I heard, the one slide a lot of us have, it says $1,000 just from the company because
Okay.
certain states, but they do get a $2,000 AD&D benefit in Illinois for being sponsored. And
Well, that's nice.
Extra $2,000. I promised your dad I would go over this with you. It's that important.
Okay. Well, thanks. I didn't know that. It's neat.
Yeah, and it actually will find their address for you and populate it in there. If you guys ever noticed that, you're like, wow, how did I get their whole address and everything? Because it checks the mail system. If they ever got a bill or anything, it'll populate that. Yeah.
So you print that and you send it in the folder with it?
Absolutely. I give them everything. Why would you not want to send the client some extra, like a certificate if they're sponsored in? And I'm going to take you the picture, the thank you. I send a picture in the thank you, every single thing I can. I give them a will kit or a family information guide, give them the child safety kit if they're have the kids. I'll make sure they get every single thing.
Quick question.
Absolutely.
Does that still work if you already resolved the lead for adding the referrals?
Yeah, you can add a referral anytime. All you do is you go to open up your e-app, everybody. Not right now, but hit sponsors or referrals, sponsors, and then add. And then you can add them in there. And then after you do an online update, it's a couple hours usually, they'll appear right in your impact for whoever's e-app you enter them into. Yeah, I always like having it, and it tracks them with your numbers. You never lose them. I mean, how many referrals have people lost? That could be thousands of dollars because maybe you see that one person and they would have given you 10 other families that really were going to enroll into this program. I lose sheets before, especially off of a sale or, the whole referral chain. And, if your car was messy that week, slides around with all your folders in the back. We don't have to deal with that anymore, but some agents used to have the worst back seats. There'd be like freedom of choices flying everywhere and oral swabs. Okay, that's Matt Brown's back seat. Okay. Get him a car wash, guys.
It doesn't work that way.
Okay.
It's not.
It's for the in-person.
So yeah, definitely use the AD&Ds. I try to print it, send everything in there, everything possible. It's gonna add credibility. Good question. Any other questions? You guys good?
I actually have a thought, kind of a question, I guess. So with that $2,000 AD&D benefit that you get as being a referral, can we use that as part of our way to get referrals, either insurance referrals or things like that?
Yes, absolutely.
Never thought of that.
Yeah, that's they allow you. There's a slide. It's I can give you the PowerPoint. is basically it says, you know, you have the opportunity, lucky you, to sponsor, give away $20,000 of life insurance, accident AD&D benefits. So all I ask, most people sponsor a minimum of 10. Now you said your sister, you're going to get that package out to your sister, Gina. We'll send the first one out to her. Who's next? 9 more. Head down, typing, writing, you know, it would be like, that was always, and some people, they look at each other, head down, and then they look at their spouse. We could do your sister. Okay, your sister, number 1's perfect. She'll be first. Where does she live? Who's next? Sometimes if people were a little reluctant with referrals, I would go name, what town she live? Okay, name, and I would get 3 or 4 names. Then I would circle back. Okay, is she 312 or 773? You know, and okay, 312, her number. That's how I would actually give her a call to see, to get these programs out to her, and just list them on there.
That's great to know. Thank you.
Hey, Case, can I add something?
Go ahead.
You can actually, what Christina said a couple weeks ago, about adding like the referrals in, like on the e-app, like I share my screen now. Like, I'm like, you know, so just like we were able to sponsor you in, you know, with your sister, Mary, you know, this is actually how I generate the card for them. So I literally share my screen on the e-app.
I like that.
So, and then I just like click the thing. So you wanted to get her discount card? Okay, perfect. So then you just do that, submit, and then, you know, you could do the same thing with accidental certificate too. So yeah.
I love that. I think if you have good rapport, the client trusts you, you know, they feel comfortable with you, and they know that they're going to protect the most important thing. You share the screen, whether it's that portion of the presentation on the e-app, and they'll help you get those out. And I love the idea. Yeah, this is how that's done. This is how we're activating their card and getting the sponsorship out to them, whether it's in the beginning. I think you have 2 opportunities to enter them in. That's right before the sponsorship portion of the e-app, and then at the end, I believe it pops up the insurance referral during the e-app. But a lot of us, you know, with the virtual world, we're queuing it right to the e-app, which having that filled out saves valuable time. You know, you'd want to have that stuff filled out. So entering in, you could add sponsorships. You can just pull that tab up and then have that client, you know, roll through those with you. And if they're in your corner, they want to help you. They're bought into the sponsorship program. They're going to fill those out for you, and they're going to give, and you got to take all the information they're going to give you in the comments. So you say, oh, Cindy plays basketball, or they play baseball together. Their kids play soccer together, or this one loves dogs, German Shepherds, has this. And then when you call them, it pops up on your phone, on your impact, the comments right there for you that you entered in during your presentation. So don't you guys see that? That's a huge tool. One little thing, because otherwise you go from being a cold caller, a telemarketer, to someone that, you know, sat with their brother, their sister, and those little small things, that's going to make all the difference in them showing up, them trusting you. You guys are all of a sudden having great phone rapport. You guys are talking about this, and you hear a dog. Oh, what kind of dog do you have? You have a German Shepherd as well, or oh wow. Whatever, guys, just building that, you know, you're connecting with them, connecting with the clients, and that's, and they ultimately buy you first. You know, they trust you, they feel comfortable with you, you're sold yourself, all those things will be working. So let's get a couple more questions. Anything else you guys got out there? Or you guys ready to get rocking today? I know we got a lot of appointments set today. 4 referrals for Sean, or Sheely.
Yes,
I call him
sir.
Sean, sorry. Sheely.
Shillelagh.
I'm gonna write
4
5K today.
referrals. And then you'll probably collect, and the thing about referrals, they give you more referrals than a hard card does.
These are
Do you
all
notice
referrals
that?
From a referral.
Well, he's on referrals, so
Racks on racks.
let's see if you can get to 30 referrals collected there. That was a huge day. 15 to 30 referrals collected in your impact. That's a small portion of a lead pack. We used to say if you collect 40 referrals in a day, that's like your call night's done. Your presets are half booked. You know what I mean? So that can really, you want to get done early on a call night. Weather's nice. You get 8 presets, and then you call referrals for an hour. You collect 40 referrals. You'll set 10 of them. 33%, or yeah, a little over 10. That's also day 2 training. You'll collect 33% of the referrals you collect. So don't forget these things. 40, you'll get it on your schedule. You'll double down your ALP, and your ALP will go up. Your closing ratio goes up. Your referrals collected goes, and you'll just create the momentum. Keep it going. But you guys got any other questions for me out there, new folks?
What do you do for the mandatory read-off letter for referrals? You just use the generic one on EM?
Yeah, I used the union one, and he asked, what do you do for the referrals for the mandatory read-off letter? And I always just use the union one. I say, because we're contracted with 20,000 groups and unions, and we handle all of these programs, I'm building it up the whole time in the beginning. The rates, we don't advertise because we're contracted with these groups. We're only allowed to come out only once unless you're a member or a policyholder with us. So that, and then I go through it. So basically, here's the way it works. Read the letter, then so basically, and that opens up the door if they want to think about it. Look, I went over, I wish I can't come back. So the main thing is to at least get you, Joe, the main income earner. We'll get your foot in the door with something comfortable today. That way I can come back and add Mary and the kids, or if it's someone that maybe they just want to get the kids. I'm building up, especially with child safe referrals. I'm building up, even on the phone. You ever hear like the Gerber Grow Up plans? Yeah, we actually beat them over 50%. I'm like planting a seed for at least getting the Head Start programs for the kids definitely on child safe referrals. So that was always a go-to where even if mom and dad, I didn't know what it was about. Well, hey, at least we'll get the kids started, or mom and dad, whichever avenue. I would ask them what's most important, or, analyzing that client's needs for that situation, or just at least getting all 3 kids or all 2 kids. That way you can always come back. So that always opens it up for at least an enrollment at some sort so they can come back. And I just make it clear at that portion, I always I can only come out only once unless you're a member or policyholder with us, due to our due to the sponsor. You live at a limited sponsored enrollment period that allows us to go over these programs and give you access to these rates and all the no cost benefits that are paid by dues. So just building that up, urgency. And but when you have tons of referrals, you're able to be more selective. You're getting more activity, you're getting more sit downs, and also with more activity, your quality goes up. Your retention goes up when you have more momentum and more activity. Why do you think that is? You're better, yeah. But let's say if you have 4,000 or 5,000 ALP, or 3,000 or 4,000 ALP, and you have one person that's health's a little questionable, you're not as inclined to push it through. If you have 1 or 2 or 3 deals, and that's good business for you. So you're able to be more selective, trialing business and at what goes through, and you're going to have a higher quality, because trialing is going to increase your retention, and solidification, the thank yous, all these things. We have to make sure that it's going to take a collective effort. We want to have 89% retention, so you're getting the full bonus boost. Yeah, 89%, that's extra 30% boost on retention. Shout out to the 97% retention. I know Marissa, Mason, I know Ashley, Miza has 97% retention. Anybody else got some great retention? I haven't looked at everybody's recently, but make sure you guys know your numbers, your PMP. We got to keep these things to where you're going to be getting higher releases and renewals. Like Marissa, the past 2 months, $600-700, and Marissa's in her 6th or 7th month. So those are going to go up. So it's going to be 1,000, 2,000, and then with quality, guys, you guys are here for profitability, to run a profitable business. And quality is a big factor of that. So how we doing on time? Any other questions for me, guys? I don't want to keep you guys too long. Anything else for me? You guys want me to talk about something, a question that tough one you're dealing with?
I'm kind of just curious with the mandatory read-off letter. Sometimes I actually find myself like, oh my gosh, oh yeah, I almost forgot. No, really, I almost forgot the mandatory read-off letter. Is that like a legal thing, or is that just setting them up for, hey, we got to do this today. And this is our company once again, before I show you the options.
Yeah. Are you a football fan?
I don't know how it works, but I'll watch it.
Well, in football, when you're playing defense, it's either going to be two things, right? What are the two things that can happen? You didn't know I was going to talk about football right now, did you?
No.
Play left, play right. No.
Run or pass.
They can do two things in football. Yes. What is it? Someone knows where. Who said it?
Run or pass.
There we go, Matt. Run. It's either going to be a pass or a run. In this business.
You said on defense.
Well, I'm sorry. Offense, rather. Well, if you're playing defense, you got to go pass or run. You got to know pass or run. So yeah, that's actually what I meant.
Still works out.
In sales, and that's why this presentation is designed to proactively beat the two main rebuttals, which are, I want to think about it and I can't afford it. So if you don't do that, I did that before too when I was brand new, and I never did it again, because guess what they told me? I want to think about it. So once they told me that, I was like, I will never, ever not say that part. That's the most important part. When I hear a new agent say, I didn't say that part, I can't even believe why you missed it, the most important part. So obviously it was a mistake. That's not a problem. You'll correct that and not miss it again. But yeah, that's the most important part. One of the most important. Rapport. So basically paragraph, enthusiasm, couple key factors, and that's one of them you cannot eliminate from your presentation. Solidifying, huge one. Never forget to solidify, because that is so important. Triple solidify, just like the phones. We would almost be like, look, Joe, like I think Mike Laramie talked about this, and this is how I learned with a paper check. Like, look, Joe, if this is uncomfortable for you, I can just tear this check up, give it right back to you. You promised me, you're actually trying to give the program back to them. You guys know what I mean? It's a little bit more difficult electronic, but okay, look, I don't have to do this. And they're like, no, they're assuring you that no, it's comfortable for you. So it's a little weird, a little uncomfortable, but it's just one of those things. Just stick to that and we'll be good. And sending all the thank yous and quickness. I don't like if I bought something, I'm like, I bought another white polo. I'm like checking my mail every day. Like, I'm like, where is my new polo? And if I bought life insurance, I would be like, where's my package? Like, the guy, like, better get this to me. Like, was this a scam? Like, why don't I have my information? So I like to send my stuff like immediately on all my sales, especially. So I don't want to wait for it. So yeah, I think that helps. Those small things, just getting those out. Always answer your phone immediately, because you want to deal with a client, especially if it's a question they have, or pulling it up, type in the last four in like really quick so you can pull their information up as they're calling you. So you try to call back, they don't answer. That's a little thing that you should probably get good at. That might take a little more practice, but that'd be huge to be able to set that appointment when you have them. And like the playbook, avoid callbacks. Training new agents, the same things. That's why a field trainer, you're reminded of the basics that always work, that we go over from day one, is those small things. So that's pretty much it. We got anything else out there for us? Any tough rebuttals? Good question. Good question. That's something it can happen, but you definitely want to try to avoid missing that read-off letter for sure. But great stuff. Anybody else? New people? How you doing? Sydney? Any questions?
I actually do.
Okay. Hey, Marissa.
Hi. So when you're doing the $5 question, sometimes I'll have people tell me like, well, I don't know. It might take food off the table.
Great question.
I don't know what
I love getting this one.
I don't know. But okay, so I've said it.
Okay, you ready? All right. You want to role play with me?
Yeah.
Well, I'll just, okay, Marissa, you're telling me that setting aside $5 for every 100 that you bring home. You know, that would take, not a problem, Marissa, because we have programs for half of that, and then just keep it rolling. See how easy that is?
Mhm.
Hey, because they used to tell me when I asked them the hour power concept when I was in the home at their kitchen table, they'd be like, yeah, Case, yeah, 1 hour's wage. That things are pretty tight right now. That $17, that actually would be a little tough right now. Not a problem, Joe. I completely understand. That's why we do have programs that are for half of that, and then just keep it moving. Agree. And think about in sales, guys, it's agree and proceed. So that's why you hand a rebuttal, no problem. I understand. I understand how you feel. Other members felt it, but once they found out these were permanent and you own these, they were definitely excited for the Zoom call, or excited for the few minutes we went over on your computer. Does that make sense? So go ahead and pull up your email, sir. We'll get this link right out to you. But yeah, that's always what I would do for the hour power, or show them. I've been throwing in there on like a needs-based presentation. I know there's a couple types of presentations out there, but you know, if they're bringing home 5,000, 0.05, I will pull up, that's your national. If you're making $5,000 a month, 5% is going to be $250 a month. So would that drastically change your lifestyle or take food off the table? Oh, it would, but because we have programs for half of that.
Mm.
That what you can figure out what, I sometimes do, if you're doing that type of presentation to where it's based off the needs analysis, based off your income. So the national recommendation, 3 to 5%, have those numbers worked in, and you obviously have a high option and 3, 5, and 3%. However you're doing your presentation, or that's not bad to be able to proactively. Some agents would proactively kind of close on price to where, or have that all worked in, but everyone kind of does it slightly different when it comes to that, the $3 to $5 question. Sometimes if it's, if it was the right situation, I would still do, if I could, just the hour power concept, if it's the right member. Because I used to work with operating engineers. They were making $95 an hour. So the hour power concept it was awesome for 1 hour wage. So $95, 1 hour wage per week, setting that aside. No, obviously 1 hour wouldn't drastically change your lifestyle. Then you're obviously showing them, 100, 200 of, permanent coverage. You're showing them college education. You're showing them the mortgage protection, income protection. You're showing them almost a huge program. And that's what's great about the needs analysis. You're covering all the avenues. So that's it. We got one more question. Anything else for us?
I kind of do have it's not so much a question, but more of a how you would have handled it.
Yeah.
So my first, one of my first sits I had was my 2 a.m. sit with an accountant. And she, right off the bat, thought that she already had everything taken care of. She was good to go, didn't need any additional anything. She had term insurance and did not care about permanent coverage, did not care that her family was going to cover anything, straight up was just they can figure it out. So when Melissa and I, she let me take control of all, it was all me. And so we went down and I gave her options with my whole life, accidental, waiver premium. I beefed it up and gave her all of it. And she kept coming back to cost. Now the problem is she told us in the needs analysis that she was saving $5,000 a month. She was making about $80,000 a year. And so we kind of knew that it really wasn't cost for her, but that she just really didn't care about the whole life. So what we ended up doing was we ended up going through giving her present options. We even were like, hey, we don't really do this, but let me give you an option D. This is something we can work with your price. And she still wasn't about it. And we ended up the only way, Melissa, I didn't even know about this until Melissa kind of threw it at me in the chat. The only way we could even get her to say yes was if we pulled up the 10-year renewable and convertible. And that was the last ditch effort. It was 1:30 in the morning. We had already talked about all of this. And she finally was like, it just needs to be less than $100. And so we ended up showing her that, where she was able to get, because she didn't want $10,000 of whole life with nothing else to fit her budget. So is that the best way to go about this? I guess is what I'm asking. What could we have done?
Absolutely. I mean, every client's different. Some clients, they may ask you, they may want to have a little bit less, or maybe some of their port coverage would be based off their age or term coverage, which you can always build that up. I'd rather get a sale than not get a sale myself. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah.
I like sales over no sales, but so if it comes down to the price, what we're going to do is guarantee your insurability. What we're going to do, we're going to get your foot in the door with, you know, the guaranteed renewable coverage. That way it gives you flexibility to make a good decision down the road and guarantee that you can convert it over. So if it comes down, because I understand, Joe, I understand completely, you know, if you can only do what you can do. I understand how you feel. A lot of our members felt that way, but once they found out that this is going to be permanent and you do have the option that you can convert it later, they were really thankful for going over the program and getting it taken care of. So we're going to take all your problems, all your family's gaps. We're going to take those out the door with us today on this Zoom call. So we're not burdening that onto the family. Perfect. So yeah, I would definitely guarantee that, get the RNC option, and then they do have that option. Yeah, good, you know, good question. Sometimes you have to explain it in a different situation, adjust down. I used to ask a question when it popped up the price, you know, based off of the needs analysis. I used to say, okay, it recommended this, this, and this. Now, Joe, is this comfortable for you, or should we increase your benefit to 50,000? Oh, that's comfortable? Great. Now you're rolling through it. See, that's another avenue, another way we used to do it. Say, is this comfortable, or should we increase your freedom of choice, your permanent coverage? Oh, you know, so that way you're typically they're not going to say, you know what, let's raise it up. So that's just a way of just getting on that type of presentation, but not as much on an ABC. So not as. But that may work for you. If you're showing your ABC, is this comfortable? Most members are enrolling at option B. Is this comfortable or should we? But yeah, obviously they're going to pick, and we all have our techniques and takeaway. You got to take it away. Obviously we know how that works. You want something you can't really have. The main thing, you do take blood pressure medication. So the main thing would be to see if we can even qualify. So rolling through it, assuming the sale, solidification, all these things. So we got time for one more question. Anybody? Something that's on your mind? Anybody here? You guys good? All right, we're good, guys. Let's have it going. Let's implement some of the stuff. Just get the referrals. You'll be thankful when you're getting twice the result for the same amount of effort. So let's go, guys. Take it easy. Take care. Rock it today. Have a good one. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks.
Peace out.
Thank you.
Thanks, Casey.
Yeah.